think we're a go. Howdy, folks. Cody here with IronVerse Comics. We're doing another Coffee, Cody, and Comics. Right now it's coffee. Got through a good chunk of it, and a little bit of soda, and some good soda. Hope you folks had a wonderful Valentine's Day yesterday. Mine was all right. Mine was all right, all things considered. Uh, so not too much of a plan today. I want to go over some changes and some tiers that I did to the campaign page. I want to kind of talk a little bit about that. Then I have some comics to talk about, and maybe we'll talk about a specific character, as it says in the title, for a little bit. And that's it. Just a hangout stream. Do that for a bit, and then maybe later today I'll come back with IronVerse Comics plays. But for now, let's just take a sip of coffee. It's funny. The first bits of this morning were chunky. Let's just say the filter didn't do its job perfectly. Gritty. That's the word he used. Gritty. uh, no longer gritty though. I guess I ate all the grit. It's still ate even though you're drinking it, but it is solid. So I don't know. The grit was consumed. that's that's for certain. Let me look. There we go. All right. Uh, I'm still kind of waiting for that first bit of coffee to come on in, but yeah, we'll go over it like this. So let me go on over here. This coffee is chunky. Yeah, howdy, Just Doug. Welcome, and thanks for stopping in again, man. Really do appreciate it. The coffee is not so chunky now. There's still little bits that were not consumed, but yeah, it's a little chunky. So right now we're sitting at $0 and zero backers because we haven't launched. Um, so what I did the last couple days, basically over the weekend and a little bit yesterday. I was tweaking prices. I wanted to add international shipping prices that are relatively within the ballpark because those can murder. Just straight up, just pure murder. Um, and we adjusted. I tried to make some tiers a bit more reasonable. I added a couple interesting tiers. Um, and there's one more that's like confirmed is gonna exist. I just need some prices from the person that we're dealing it with, and that's about where we're at there. So we're just sans one tier. We don't have one that's up there that will be up there before Friday. We're launching Friday. I'm not sure what time Friday. I might do it just when I wake up on Friday. That might be what I do Friday. It might be midnight Friday, right? If I'm up that late Thursday. Um, a lot of options. But Friday is the date. Finally set that in. Um, so what is that? What day is Friday? Oh, happy booked panic too. Welcome, welcome. Let me we will well, I have it on my profile thing. I don't think this will be too much of a trouble. Let's see. Oh my God, it's my notifications. No, I just want to go over here. Okay, it was 218. 218. No idea. What was today, the 15th? Yeah, yeah, there you go. Boom, boom, boom. So 218, we are launching this sucker. Um, only things that might change again is there one more tier that's going to come up. I might do one more edit of the campaign video. And that's about it. And we're ready to go. I think my pricing is where I want it to be. And I think we're where we need to be. So we're just gonna. So we've done this a few times on the channel so far, and if you've been watching, you might be able to notice where things have changed and have grown. I can't always remember exactly what I did, everything I did. So um, we're just gonna go through it, and if I remember what I changed, I'll bring it up. But otherwise, I'll just kind of show you what we got again for the heck of it. And as always, welcome ideas and thoughts. Um, I don't think I did any more add-ons, things like that. But we'll talk about that after we kind of go through here. So of course I didn't do much to this. What I ended up doing to the story bit mainly is I cut the team part and moved it um, down here, so it's a little bit less intrusive. Um, and I made sure that we talk about everything here as specifically as possible. I did decide I'm going to do the wooden standees. Haven't gotten the acrylic proof that I ordered yet, so we'll see. But definitely doing that. So go here. So of course the featured perk. This is the one that I expect to sell the most. Um, Whether or not funding, this is the one I kind of expect because it's for our returning backers, right? Um, Issue number 4. So it's the 48-page start of the second arc. You'll get your sticker, which is put out below. You'll get one of the 3 pinups. We've always done random pinups, and if you want the rest, you can get all 3 pinups through the add-on section. You just select that, and then we'll give you all 3, and then you don't have to worry about getting a random one. And of course, you'll get your digital number 4. $20 USD, $5 shipping. So we're keeping to the similar price we did uh, 1, 2, and 3. Though 3, I believe I made too cheap. And that was part of my recovery bit. So we raised the price up a little bit because our prices have gone up a little bit. And of course, the insanity of the global economic situation currently isn't very helpful. So I originally had this at 25 with $5 shipping, and so I knocked that down $5 because I think we can deal with that, and then we're still pretty competitive with most crowdfunding works. Um, I mean, you'll get a lot of floppies in crowdfunding that are 24 pages, and that $25 plus shipping. Um, and we're 20 plus the 5. And then, of course, I had to do some murderation on those international shipping prices are crazy. So if you are an international backer, as usual, we're so very grateful for you, but you are gonna have to pay for it. You just can't take that hit this go. So we'll see how that works out. But that's the cheapest we could do, and that's the tier I'm expecting to make the most forward momentum with. Um, After that, then it starts listing them from cheapest to most expensive. That's just how Indiegogo does it. So then the next option is the issue number 4 digital. Doing $4. You get it, and then whatever extras we decide to include. Um, yeah, just digital issue number 4. Nothing special there. Um, then of course you'll get access to all the updates and all that along the way. But yeah, and then that's our cheapest buy-in, right? Somebody who already owns the previous can just chuck us $4. Super helpful. Um, Pretty self-explanatory. Then this is a new tier. This is one that I was like, well, once I can confirm with my publisher how many of the stock from last campaign we have left, then I can start doing these kind of tiers. And so I had to think pretty hard about it because we had extras of 1 through 3, but there's not a massive amount, particularly of number 3. That's what we sold the most last campaign, right? Because it was the newest issue. And so there is another tier we'll talk about that includes that. But right now, I had a choice of doing just the issue number 1 from last campaign or issue 1 and 2. The thing is, again, we have limited tiers, right? We have a limited amount of those previously printed issues, and we're not going back to print for any of the previous issues for this go. Wicked Publishing still has quite a few of their reprinting left, so there you can snag those like through them, especially down the line. But if you want to start on this campaign and help us out right here, we're not ever gonna reprint this cover um, for issue number 1, so that's why it's kind of demanding a bit more of a premium. But this one can help us out quite a bit in just almost straight profits. So um, quote unquote, right? Because I still ended up paying $2 a book, $2.50 a book, something like that, through the printer, like last campaign, right? So this is to help recover some of those costs, but also give us some profit. I believe it's $10, and then I think I did $2 shipping, and you get issue number 1 by itself, and then I'll probably shoot you the digital as well. I just don't have that on this tier right now because I didn't make it last time. So maybe we'll do that in a little bit. But I wanted to do that as an entryway. The other option was so there's 100. We had 25 more issue number ones than issue number twos, and we had like 100 more issue number ones than issue number threes, and like again like 75 more issue number twos than number threes. So I couldn't offer um, because of another tier that's coming up, I couldn't offer issue one through one. Okay. So the option here, and I'm very clear today, aren't I? The option here was issue one for this 10 and shipping, or issue one and two for 15 and shipping. Shipping would be a bit more, but instead of 100, it would be 75. And so I decided to just do the issue number one. That way, people who discover this could just buy in and help us out. Um, and we can get a few more books out, right? Um, that's because, and we'll see digital bundle self explanatory that we've talked about. That's because of this tier. Um, so we had a little over 200 issue number ones left from last campaign, close to 200 issue number twos, and just a little over 100 issue number threes. So I was able to offer this tier, which is all four books and then all the stuff that comes with issue number four, right? All four books and of course four books in digital and all the stuff. Of course, there's add-ons and all that too if you were to get in there, but those are the two main tiers that we added. So you can just pick up issue number one, or you can pick up issues one through four, but they're both limited. Um, woo! So yeah, this will give you an idea, and you can add any of this stuff to it, the misprints or the pinups if you want all three instead, or any of this fun stuff. But yeah, so those are the two main ones, and then of course we did this one, which people are gonna look at this and it's like, wait, what? Why? These are misprints. Because you're getting 5 of each in this tier. Because we have 1,500 books to move that are misprinted. 1,500. They're not, again, the reader's copies. Like, they're not illegible. They're not, like, destroyed. It's just they are flawed and imperfect, and we weren't willing to ship them out to our backers. But we still got to keep them due to a lot of interesting maneuvering with the printers and the shipping company they used. We ended up keeping them, which was very cool and helpful for us, especially if we can sell some of these, right? So this is just another tier. This one actually is pure profit because we didn't have to pay for those misprint copies. It's just how it goes. So that's what that is. You get 5 of each of the issues to do with whatever you want. I bet somebody could sell them and make a profit off of them, but just remember that they are misprint and reader copies. And then between this tier and this tier will be another secret tier. But yeah, that's the main things I added. And then again, I just cleaned this up a bit. I haven't decided if I want to cut this out or not. I really like it, but it might be too much fluff. I don't know. I don't know. I think I did an okay job of covering these guys. I do need to put the misprint tier here, misprint bundle tier here. Looks like that's what I forgot. Did put the issue number one. Oh, yeah. We're about there. This is about what it's going to look like when it goes live. Friday. We'll see how it goes. Uh, okay. I guess let's do those things while I'm here. Super entertaining, I'm sure, but before I forget. Okay, here's all this stuff. So what I need to do is let's take care of that first. Dooba dooba doop. Shuba. Shuba dooba dooba. Down here, go down. There it goes. Perks. Uh, what I called. I should do it and go ahead. Bold it. Bold! The power of bolding. And whoop. And an apostrophe, please. And that I need it here. Okay, there we go. Ta-da! Alright. Okay. That should all be answered. That should. There was something else I wanted to fix, wasn't there? I'm still not that much awake, and I've been awake a couple hours now. And I do have caffeine running through my blood. That was fine. What was it? It's just that I wanted to add that. Oh, no, no, it wasn't. I remember. I remember. So I actually have to save campaign one more time. Perks. I think it's actually item, right? Yeah, no, it's item. Create new item. Issue number 1 digital. Save. And then perks. Issue number 1. Issue number 1. Digital. There it goes. Ta-da! Okay, and then I need to alternate the text of this. Any other extras? There we go. All right. I think those are the bumps that just looking over it, I don't know. I'll include you anyway. We found. And there we go. So far, these are the countries we are shipping to. But we will add countries upon request. I just need to have updated, like, on the day shipping prices if I can, because, like, month to month, our global economic situation is floundering at best. So I want to mitigate the uh, lumps that we will hopefully not be taking, but there's a good chance that's likely we'll be taking some lumps in this campaign. Um, just thanks to the fact that this is not real property and we'll be dealing with the global financial circuit, and shit is moving quick and ugly currently in that particular realm. I think then that does indeed cover it. Let's see. I doubt, but people might be interested in the limited. Nope, hasn't moved yet. Still hoping to get this to 200 before launch, but I don't really have a bait on the hook for a pre-launch this go, like I've had before. Like the metal card was the bait on the hook. Issue number 3 is pre-launch, and I'd have to add another $500 to our goal to justify doing those metal cards again, and that's another like 50 sold issues. No. Another like 20 sold issues, and I don't. I'll be scraping for everyone already, so we'll see. Um, that does that, I think. And then we're gonna move on over. Boom. It there. We're gonna go ahead and move on over to soda. Kind of a mini what you're reading. That's why I could say it because again, I need to go back and watch what the last what you're reading contained, and then I can figure out what I read in between that and then when I do a new one. And then that'll focus purely on the books and discussing what I read and my thoughts on the books as usual. This will be kind of a mini on that. Um, let's do this. Let's do this. So we're not going to start with the title character of the stream there. It's on top, whatever. So last few times I've been discussing comics I've been reading on the channel. I've had talk of this. So this is the Punisher Complete Collection, volume number 5, Punisher Max, of course. Um, I said it was very mediocre. Then I did a reading on a stream where I just kind of read the book and then discussed it a little bit and hung out with you folks, which there are more of those kinds of streams to come, and I'm super excited for 2 of them that I have the idea of doing. That might be just pure insanity, and I love it. But basically, what I had to say on this, and it didn't really change, was I mean, Welcome to the Bayou helped a little bit. That's what I read on stream. It was above mediocre, but most of this was at best mediocre. It was fine. It was just nothing like spectacular. It was very formulaic Punisher kind of stories. No big moment. Some of them had very little of the humor, right? Welcome to the Bayou was better because even though it wasn't Garth Ennis, the writer at least understood what made Ennis's Punisher Max special, which a lot of it is that dark humor. Frank's like dry, very, very dark humor, and it had a little bit of that, so that pushed it above average. But then I think it's just the last thing. Honestly, I think it's the very last thing you get to read. It's this little mini anthology, and it's like I think 8 pages per entry, and they were really good. I was super impressed with them. Yeah, it's right after Welcome to the Bayou, which finishes just fine. Was it Max 75, which I guess was a oversized issue, and then it just had, let me see how many. It had 5? 5 shorts in it, and I think they were each 10 pages. Let me see. 8 pages, I think, but they might be 10. Yep, 10 pages apiece. So it was an oversized issue. It wasn't quite an annual. Um, the first one, it's like around Christmas. It's the winter. Frank's gonna assassinate somebody, as he does, some evil bastard. And a little girl finds him, and she's lost her dad. So Frank's like, I got a little bit of time, and so he kind of helps her find her dad, as Frank does. There's actually this 3-panel bit that is pretty much verbatim what I ended up doing in Jack issue number 2, which is kind of funny. It's a little less beautiful of a moment than we were able to pull off, if I dare say, because the focus of the page and such was on that moment. But this, on the other hand, it was pretty good. It's even like the paneling layout's very similar. See, I want the lighting. You see the handhold, meeting the kid, the handhold, and then walking with the kid. Um, so that was kind of neat to see. It's like, oh, look at that. That pacing was kind of used by somebody else as well. Very interesting. Again, I like how he did it much better, but kind of neat to come across. He finds the dad, um, the kid's dad. A couple eh, interesting bits. Frank's just keeping an eye on the guy he's got to assassinate the whole time, just so he doesn't lose him. finds the dad, and then Frank ends up using the dad as a a I guess a bipod, as he is a bipod. Yeah, or he uses the dad as a bipod to assassinate this guy. And then just kind of walks away and tells the dad to appreciate every second. Don't lose your kid. And then it ends. And that was fine. That was fine. Then the next one, very unique art style on this next one. And the guy really liked those wraparound mustaches without the beard. They're really weird. Um, God, my camera sucks and my lighting's worse. You can kind of see it. Um, very light lines, very rounds, kind of sketchy almost, and then the colorist makes it hyper realistic, and it's a jarring but unique art style. So that was kind of neat. And we just follow this middleman who just delivers money from one dark hand to another dark hand, and then he has no idea kind of what's going on. So you follow his life and all that, and you listen to all his excuses of why everything's all right. And it turns out he was involved in Frank's death. I think he gave the money to the assassins or whatever that, or facilitated the mob hit that Frank was in the middle of, Frank and his family. So then by the end of it, Frank's just killing him. Nothing, yeah, it was pretty formulaic. But it was interesting in the fact that they try to kind of make you understand the guy and how he feels like he's not doing anything terribly wrong. He's just taking money to take care of his family, and he gets his head blown off like into chunks by Frank before he's the Punisher. It's one of those early like original serial killings that Frank did right afterwards. Um, it was good. Again, the pacing's brisk with these 10-page stories, so the writers don't have enough time to get up their own ass. Um, and then make something mediocre, right? It's very quick, and I appreciate that. Then it's another one where I like the art style. It's kind of more classic 2000s Punisher. Guy kind of looks like Jim Gordon. I'm looking at him. He's a cop and he steals evidence from lockers and then sells them online. He had a particular fascination with selling stuff to do with Frank Castle. And he's selling Frank's son's shirt from the day the son and family was murdered. And Frank finds out, gets him to buy everything back and burn it. Or he's gonna kill the guy who's been selling it, the dirty cop. And that's basically the whole story. Very simple again, and it's by the end of it, the guy thinks he can get away with it again. He does actually buy everything and burn it, but he's looking at something and he wants a little bit more money, and then it just ends. And so Frank's gonna come back and kill him. Pretty good, pretty good. Howdy, Max. Welcome, welcome. I hope you're doing well. Don't know if I've seen you here before, so particularly welcome. The next one, this was the one that I really liked. So I'm a huge fan of Goran Parlov's work in Punisher Max. I think what he and Garth Ennis did was incredible. I like him. I like Leandro Fernandez, and I, of course, love Steve Dillon. But I don't think Steve worked with Frank on the original Max run. He only worked with Jason Aaron at the end. Yeah, kind of a waste. But I love Goran Parlov's kind of sketchy, minimalist style. And what this short in this was is called Father's Day. Frank's patching himself up or whatever, and then he's just remembering scenes from throughout the series, throughout Punisher Max, and it's really neat to see the scenes through Goran Parlov's lens. So you have a scene from Mother Russia, you have a scene from The Slavers, you have a scene from Girls in White Dresses, you have a scene from oh god, was it Kitchen Irish? You have scenes from all of the arcs, right? But done by Goran Parlov instead of the other artists, and that was really cool. And it's so briskly paced. I mean, most of the pages in this are 3 panels a piece. In fact, all of them are, huh? Was that the idea? Yeah, all of them are. Every page in this short is 3 panels apiece, and it's just scenes from Frank's life in Punisher Max, just reimagined. So you have the Barracuda and the little kid, of course, which was a Parlov run. You have Frank with another Parlov run right there. Those two panels there were actually Parlov runs, but then at the bottom, the Slavers was not a Parlov run, where the little sister who was married off to the Gambino or the fucking mafioso who really mistreated her, and then the sisters and the other wives really just like, you have to stay with him, and then eventually she gets cancer and all that. Ah, such a rough arc, and then eventually she just goes around being another Punisher, and then she finds Frank, falls in love with him, and kills herself on top of him. Is the nicest way. So that scene. Then the woman he ends up having a kid with that he doesn't know he has a kid till Barracuda shows up holding the kid. That's in here. That scene from Mother Russia where he's swinging the little bastard who they send into the nuclear silo to kill Frank and the little girl. Uh, that scene's from Kitchen Irish below that. The Slavers, when he's burning the. I love that scene. It's the end of the book, The Slavers, too. I think The Slavers might. It's between the Mother Russia and The Slavers for my favorite Max arc. But end of The Slavers while he's burning the head of the slave ring on camera so you can send it overseas to not bring that shit back over here, or this is what you're going to get. Um, I just loved it. It showed Gorn's love for the for Max, and it was just cool to see him reimagine these scenes. There's him killing Microchip, which is the end of the first arc of Punisher Max. Um, just great stuff. And so that really, when I saw that in here, I was like, okay, that was worth getting this for the overpriced that these Max collections are going for. Um, so so yeah, again, basically everything up to this was pretty mediocre. Welcome to the Bayou was a little bit over, and then this was really good. And then the next short, kind of a more 90s image kind of style artwork. It's very briskly paced. There's about 2 to 3 words per panel. And it's just Frank struggling at the end of a slaughter to keep pushing forward, and it's just supposed to communicate how Frank continues to be the Punisher in the moment to moment stuff. It's a little busy for my likes, and the colors help. The colors help quite a bit, but for what it is, again, it's brisk, and I love brisk paced comics when they're still communicating everything they need to be. And that's going to be the opposite of what we're going to talk about here in a little bit. We're going to talk about pacing. So this is definitely the opposite of that. And it's just him being like happy that he's able to do that and happy to be the agent of death. Um, he's just smirking at the end. Live for this. Is stoked. But that was solid. Wasn't amazing, but the brisk pace made it like that's great. And then it ends. And then we're talking about Steve Dillon. So the Steve Dillon Frank is really good. I love Steve Dillon Frank. It's just good that he got an image in there, but yeah, he didn't work much in Max on sequentials. I think he was getting sick there for a while before he passed. I'm glad he got to finish it though with Jason Aaron. I'm not the biggest Jason Aaron fan on a lot of stuff, but he finished Punisher Max's story arc, Frank's story arc in that pretty well. I don't know as well as Ennis would have done it, can't say, but he definitely didn't dishonor it. So I was stoked about that. All right, so that was that. That was good. It brought it home. It brought it full circle at the end, which I was like, this wasn't that great for most of it. Like it wasn't. And then man, that Parlov short in there really just brought it home for me. And then everything else in there was paced right and was good. So it brought it home. I was worried it was just going to be a mediocre thing to just have for my collection instead of something I'm maybe going to read again, right? Um, oh, look at that! Look at that! Excellent. You've not read too many Punisher comics other than a few appearances in some Bronze Age. Yep, yep. You personally love a lot of indies, but Hard Boiled is a massive personal favorite in terms of wicked violence. So Punisher Max is very, very wickedly violent. I'm hoping that shot that Gordon Parloff did, that reimagined when he killed Microchip at the end of the first arc. I don't even remember what that first arc's called. Come to think of it, but it's gore. It's pure gore. There's sex and gore quite a bit in Max. That's why it was Max instead of regular Marvel, right? Um, I'm still impressed with what Garth Ennis was allowed to get away with in the Welcome Back Frank arc in the 2000s. There's some pretty funny, pretty nasty kind of stuff, and you can tell when he has his hands a bit cuffed behind his back, he can be a bit more creative, which I like. I like writers that rise to those occasions instead of actually become limited by them. And Ennis is really good at that. Um, but Let me see. These look excellent, though. I would recommend it if you like a hard-boiled. It's sometimes detective. It's a lot of catharsis. Punisher Max is like one of the ultimate catharsis series to read. The only thing that comes like close, if not maybe a little bit better, is Fist of the North Star, the manga, just because it's the ultimate power fantasy. Fist of the North Star, like it's as machismo as you can get, and it takes itself like hyper seriously to the point where it's funny at the same time as delivering the style. It's great. Fist of the North Star is incredible. Punisher Max is definitely way more Western and way more thought put into it. I really appreciate it. It's what got me to stick with comics and eventually helped inspire me to make comics. Um, the AI art of your comic looks fantastic. That was just a fun little thing I figured out how to do one time. I was like, you know what? I can put that up on the channel as video content. So I'm gonna do that. And that's where that came from. Some of it's some of it's like inspired by keywords that would work with our work. Some of them you can tell have cowboy hats. Um, Usually when you put in cowboy, you get the hat. That's what the AI understands it as, right? Um, Cyberpunk stuff works with our work as well, so you'll see a lot of like wires and mechanics. Um, some Western scenes, some wasteland scenes, those work. So that was just me like tinkering with something, trying to add more on my end compared to what our wonderfully talented art team actually does that makes it look like incredible. If you haven't checked out our work, you can read issue number one free online through our website, IronVerseComics.com. I'd love your thoughts as always. And you actually can read issue number one for free all the way through, and then like 90% of issue two for free. Otherwise, they're $3 a piece digital through my publisher, Wicked Publishing, or $1 on Patreon, and you get access to our digital library for just that dollar a month. So you can just snag them, keep them forever. Um, if you want to catch up to what we're doing. Otherwise, yeah, thank you for your thoughts on that. I find it interesting and it was just a fun thing to tinker with. I'll get back to it at some point. But I did like, almost 70 pieces there, and they don't get much traction. They just look cool. And they're fun for me because you basically you enter the parameters and then you just wait, right, for it to build it. And yeah. So I'll use that as a bridge. So this stream has Nick Fury in particular mentioned for a few reasons, and in fact, I might have to pull off War Gone By just so we can bridge Punisher Max to this. Because man, if you want a world of difference in pacing, and that's what I was talking about. So that one I was talking about was like between 2 and 5 words per panel. Tiny little caption boxes for that short that just made it breezy. Like the concept wasn't amazing, the art was good, but it was not my preferred kind of comic art. I didn't really like a lot of the '90s stuff, and that's what it came off as. You go and look at something like this, which is the other thing I've been reading. Shield by Steranko. Mr. Jim Steranko. So it starts when he started. It's like his first few issues where he's basically just inking over Jack Kirby. And then it evolves into when they let him just have Nick Fury as a title. I haven't gotten far enough to see him taking off the Jack Kirby training wheels yet. Um, but you want to talk about the difference in pacing. So again, I was talking about 3 or 4 words per panel. We're going back. It was the golden age of comics, and you just have 4 panels, and you got half an actual page of a book. You know, uh, you've got prose basically, and it's all flavor, right? So personally, again, I love manga because of the pacing. It's very brisk and clean. Um, doesn't waste moments. Uh, when you go back to the Golden Age, um, it's at least I think it's the Golden Age. I always get Golden, Silver, and Bronze Age incorrect. I think it goes back, and I think these are Golden Age. Um, but they are all about making sure that the communication is giving even more value to the art. And sometimes there's a lot of overcompensation, but not like in today's comics where I can often feel um, Tom King's a great example. Um, Brian Michael Bendis as well. I can often feel that the writers are overcompensating um, and not trusting the artwork to communicate enough. This no, this isn't like they don't trust the artwork to communicate. It's that they have a lot more to say on top of the artwork. It doesn't have that same feeling of ego to it that you get in modern day comics. It's just it destroys the pacing. Either example destroys the pacing, but one is like it's still good writing and still doing its job, and then the other, the more modern take is I just feel the insecurity in every fucking word. In this, I don't feel any insecurity. It just takes forever to get through. You know, 4 panels should not take that long. Uh, but it's different sensibilities, right? People back in the day maybe were especially kids. You wanted them to sit and read them for a while and enjoy them for a while. They were trying to give them more bang for their buck, trying to make sure that that quarter went very far, so that they'll spend a couple more quarters on a couple more titles. Um, Nowadays, you know, it's like $6 or whatever for an issue. And you get all those ads still and padded out, which you did before, right? That's never changed. But the approach to it feels very differently, and reading this has allowed me to see that difference. I guess is part of it. Um, Watching and reading Nick Fury uh, and Stan Lee's scripting to this has been kind of like that. It's funny the difference that the same tools, the different approaches the same tools are taking. I guess is the best way to go for it. Stan, you can tell comes from I'm trying to give as much flavor and information as possible to the reader so that no one's confused and so that you understand the artistic thing we're trying to put forward. Modern now, it's like how much emotional baggage can I place on the reader while also saying as much as I want to say. It's very different, and neither approach is my favorite, but I can see how this is more timely than modern works in using that amount of dialogue and that amount of narration. Um, but anywho, so let me go ahead and I'm gonna go ahead and remove that Russian bot real quick. Not ever the biggest fan of those fellas. You might hear me for a second. If you do, apology. I think I have it muted though. Shouldn't be a biggie. There we go. Goodbye, Russian bot. All right. Um. So I've gotten through like 2 issues in the last few days because it's like reading chapters in a book instead of what I'm used to reading chapters of manga or chapters of more modern comics, but not modern comics. I'm talking, 2000s, like 90s through 2000s kind of era. Um, and it's fun. It's super campy. Um, the terminologies are super fun. I'm still waiting though for Stranko to take over. Because you can tell it's Kirby layouts, you can tell it's Kirby pencils that he's doing. Um, and I'm waiting for Stranko because Stranko ended up taking things in more surrealistic ends. Now, saying Jack Kirby was not surrealistic, but it was at this time, and you can read it. I read in the back, so that's the other things I read in here so far is like the little biographies and talking about how they broke down the pencils and stuff in the back because I was really curious. Um, Marvel is so there was insecurity at Marvel at that time. Of course there was. They just started becoming something like really cool after becoming, after Timely Comics for a while, when Stan and Jack started like pumping blood into Marvel Comics. Um, Stan didn't want to. He wanted a bit of Kirby magic in nearly every title they were doing, and so that's what was happening here. Is that Kirby would do the layouts and such, and you can tell it's Jack Kirby layouts how he do paneling. Um, and you can tell again, it's the shadows and the line work is definitely Kirby-esque. Kirby Tech also is in here. And so it's not Stranko yet. It's just Stranko doing a very good Kirby impression. Um, so I'm excited for it to start to move towards Steranko's stuff, but I've got a lot to slog through because it is again not briskly paced. I wish it was more briskly paced, but that's how it goes, right? But very enjoyable. It's just spy thriller stuff, classic spy thriller stuff. And like the 1960s kind of spy stuff, the James Bond spy stuff is fun. It's super campy, right? That's all that Shield is. Um, and so far it's been enjoyable. So far it's been enjoyable. But Nick himself, as a character, I loved his evolution. There's two Nick Furies, of course, as people are probably aware of by now. There's the classic Nick, which I'm very much used to and grew up with. That one. Um, and then sometime during the Ultimates, we get introduced to the second Nick Fury, who has basically become the primary Nick Fury thanks to the MCU. Um, and with that came a wonderful title, and I guess we'll talk about that too, since I talked about Shield, and I said I'd grab it, so let me do that. Wonderful title. I very much recommend if you check out Fury Max. There's a couple. So this is my. I don't have a ton of Nick Fury, but this is what I got, and I've read all of this stuff. I'm going through Shields, the last bit of Nick Fury I got to get through that I have. But if we're talking about like his evolution and what he is, right, and what he became, um, so same time around Punisher Max was going on. Fury shows up a few times in Punisher Max, and he's a really cool. Garth Ennis's Fury is really cool. Uh, he knew exactly what he wanted Fury to be, and it would be hard for me to explain it. I very much recommend reading it instead. Um, but it's definitely the unofficial continuation of this Nick compared to the more modern Nick that audiences are now, linked to. And I mean, there's a character like one of the first characters, one of the hooks in this in Fury Max is Fuckface. It's just like the guy's name. He's just this big mute guy with a little hole for a face. They rebuilt his face after it was like torched off or something, so he's got like one little eye and a little tiny little fucking mouth to stick a straw into to eat, right? But he's really strong and tough and basically a super soldier by genetics instead of like an actual super soldier, if I remember right. Um, like any Max, this is just fun. It's just fun. It's got a lot of Garth Ennis' dark humor. Totally worth reading. Um, but more classic Fury that's kind of borders in between that. And this was the first Nick Fury I read, and I ended up selling my original copy of it because I had read it. I was like, I'm probably not going to read this again. And then I started looking into it, and I was like, you know what? I really wish I still had that. So I bought it again. It's one of the few trade paperbacks I've bought more than once. Nick Fury versus Shield. Ah, the glare is amazing. But I think that's a Sienkiewicz cover, isn't it? Let me see. Or cover, yep, that's a Sienkiewicz cover. I thought so. Man, such a glaringly unique art style. Um, it's basically Fury discovers that Shield's been infiltrated by Hydra, and it basically is Hydra now without his knowing. And so it's just him fighting to get Shield back. Wonderful title. The coloring is very minimalistic. It's very like purples and yellows and just kind of light tones to it. Gives it this very classic feel, but it has these crazy layouts, which are obviously kind of inspired by Steranko's run once he took the reins. Um, I loved this story, but I thought I had enough with it, and then I found out I didn't, and I bought it again. um, really cool, really good stuff. I do recommend picking that up. Then I read this. It's. I was kind of curious. I love Wolverine. This is Wolverine, Nick Fury, Scorpio. Apparently, Scorpio is Nick's son, and he had a whole nother arc before this arc. Um, and it's all right. It's all right. There's some faster bits. There's some slower bits. Uh, its pacing is again it, kind of like the other ones. Not the best. Not the best pacing, but it was fine. I don't know if I'd recommend it. But if you want more Nick Fury and you want him crossing over with Wolverine, there you go. That's what I wanted out of it, and I did get that. But yeah, Fury Max, basically this ultimate war hero turned spy. The story of the OSS is what Nick Fury kind of became a thought form of, an idea of, at least to Garth Ennis. And he allowed that to kind of simmer in the background throughout Punisher Max and then Fury Max. And then, when did this come out? This is from a little bit ago. Uh, 2013. So 2013, around that time I think he had finished working on Punisher Max and it had been moved over to other creators, right? Um, and I don't think Jason Aaron had finished it yet. Maybe he did. But throughout that, Fury got some characterization. Like Mother Russia had a big one because he's the spy master, like of the world. He's the spy master at that point. And what Garth had kind of turned him into again is this thought form of how the OSS became the CIA and trying to and a man who was a war hero and understood the difference between what wartime struggles necessitated something like the OSS to what the CIA became. So all the darkness and all the overthrowing of other nations and all the shady shit that the CIA is now very well known for. Um, how a war hero, someone who helped found that and give it its chutzpah, its power, um, how he would feel and what would become of that. He still has his anti-aging serum. That's how they've kind of explained it throughout. I think all Marvel Comics is that he got hit by an anti-agent serum. They injected it with him because he's the spy master. They need his information. They need Nick Fury. Um, and so it's this old man. He's already old in like the 60s, still getting older and older and feeling like that, and then kind of hit his anti-aging serum peak, right? So he's not getting much older than that, but he's watching everything become shit around him, and there's very little he can do to hold on to the heart and the integrity of what the idea was. And in My War Gone By, it's him talking about all of that and then finishing his journey. And just a masterstroke. If you're into real life political intrigue and the stuff that Ennis does with military books, if you loved Sarah from TKO um, or any of his other military titles, and he's done quite a few, um, he put all that love and realism and disdain, because I mean he hates the political structure. You can see that from Punisher all the way, into this. He put all of that, especially anti-American. Like he respects it, but he hates it. That's all in here with his humor and his wonderful characterizations. Um, and it finishes Fury's journey, the Fury from the 60s. It's not the Fury that we ended up with now. Very different Furies. And it's nice that he got a conclusion, even if it's just like a spiritual conclusion, right? Um, so I've always been interested in the character from that level of being like the ultimate spy master. I think that is a World War II hero turned ultimate spy master because it's a great metaphor, if not like a literal one to one, of what geopolitical politics became after World War II, that transition from World War II to the modern age, what World War II birthed, right? Um, and that's what Fury is to me. And this, I can never recommend this enough. My War Gone By is just incredible. And of course, Goran Parlov as well. He does. I love that man's work. Um, but having read the more briskly paced, more intriguing stuff for me, right? It was interesting. I had to go back because Steranko, who is kind of who made the character into something. Um, majorly iconic. Stan and Jack took him from World War II and pushed him into this more super spy, James Bondy kind of arena. And then Steranko took that James Bondy super spy kind of arena and turned it into psychedelic intrigue and such. And I really want to understand it a bit more and add that chapter into my knowledge of Fury because I have it's a contrast to the other structures of Fury I have built up already, right? So I've been enjoying that. It's just going to take a while to get through it because its pacing is just super slow paced, and it's got like great art, all of that very pretty golden age art, but it very much is slower paced. Uh, but I've been enjoying it. And that's kind of what I had to say on Fury right now, I guess, and what I've been reading. Um, Not sure it was the most informative or educational or even entertaining delivery on those thoughts, but that's what we do here. We just talk and hang out for a few, and I appreciate you folks for joining. I'm just gonna check. So we talked about the campaign and what I've changed and how it's gonna look when we launch, all that fun stuff. So I think that actually does cover it, doesn't it? Let me see. Do, 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 do. As always, I'm still on. So if anybody has any questions about anything comic book related, if you're unaware that we create them, we create them. So check out IronVerseComics.com. And yeah, I'll probably be back later today with a more IronVerse Comics plays thing. There's actually something I want to do. Oh, Mrs. H barely made it. Barely. Literally just doing my sign off. um, but we talked a little bit about Nick Fury. We talked a little bit about what I'm reading with Shield. I went over the campaign page again. We've tightened some things and I lowered quite a few prices. Just waiting on a very kind of special perk to be priced appropriately for everyone involved. And we launch Friday. And that's about it. But yeah, you missed like all the meat, Mrs. H, but you did make it technically. You did. You did make it. Um, yeah, I was just asking if anybody had any questions or thoughts to discuss before I sign out. And I was just kind of vamping to give space for that to happen before I said, oh, okay, nobody. I'm going to sign out. But I finished my coffee, so I can still hang for a minute. Honestly, I cleared today, so I think I want to stream an IronVerse Comics plays later today, probably doing some RimWorld just to kind of hang out and breathe, right? Um, we did fix some things on the campaign as well. I made sure that our issue number one tier also included issue number one digital, which I had forgotten to do when I was working on it this weekend. Uh, then I added the 1 through 4 bundle, or 1 through 3 misprint bundle description to the campaign description, and that's what we worked on. That's what we finalized. Nothing incredible, nothing amazing. Yeah, if you would, there's probably something interesting somewhere in there. A lot of rambling, very low energy. Some days I have a great amount of energy. Most days I don't, and sometimes the caffeine really helps, and sometimes it's barely noticeable. I think what it's doing today is it's making me scatterbrained. It's shooting a lot of stuff back and forth, and then the rest of me is like, ah, latch on to something so you can actually communicate. So instead of being helpful, it was kind of, I think it's like 10% better than I would have been without the coffee, but there's like 60% more energy, and I'm having to spend a lot more energy to wrangle it. So it's kind of, eh. But yeah, we're about set. Entry for our digital is exceedingly low this go for people who had bought the previous and just want to help us out this go. I don't want folks to feel like, they can't help. um, physical entry. We were able to I was able to talk to Wick and get the actual numbers of the campaign books from last campaign, what was left. Original intention for those books was actually to sell them via conventions or their online store, just to kind of help them out because they've done a lot financially to help out Jack along the way, and so I try and repay that favor as I can. Um, but we mutually decided the best way is to maybe just clear the stock and to get issue number 4 made is like the best move forward for everybody. So we're selling issue number 1, what we have left of it. If people just want to dive in at our cheapest physical tier, that's totally what I'll do. I didn't refresh this because it should say issue number 1 digital as well. Yeah, okay, cool. Um, and then you can get the digital bundle for what turns out to be $4 a piece on the digital. Um, the digital tiers, of course, are the best profit margin. Easy enough, and you just ship them out. So those are exceedingly helpful. Um, haven't gotten the standee in yet, and of course the one I got is acrylic. We actually are going to do wooden standees. I decided I like that better, just conceptually. I like the idea better. Um, limited tier, of course. Um, I was able to add this, which I think is really cool. You can get all 4 issues in a bundle, but we're not going back to print, so there's not many of them. Um, and added this one where you can get 5 of each of our misprint reader copies. Again, if anybody's curious what the misprint readers actually look like, I have the video discussing them. The colors are a little off, the inking's a little heavy, um, and that translates to some of the lettering, but none of it is like illegible. It just wasn't the quality we were willing to deliver to backers previous campaigns. So instead of and thanks to those wonderful printers and some shipping mistakes, we ended up keeping them. So we're trying to do something with them. Right, they were free. It's 1,500 free issues for us to get out. So doing this, it's a small tier. I don't think many people are going to go for it, but if people want to even resell them, I have no problem with that. Just take them, help us out now so we can keep making it work, and then whatever you do, that's totally fine with me. And of course, this the other tier is going to be between these two in price. It's going to be closer to this in price, but it's going to be between these two, and it'll be really cool. I just gotta hear back from the individual involved on what is a fair price for him, because that'll all go to him. And then I got to add a percentage that'll go to the campaign, and then we got to figure out how much the shipping is going to be. And that's it. But I think it's pretty cool. I think it's going to be a fun tier. I don't know if we'll sell out on it or not, but it could be very helpful. Um, then on this part, I didn't do. I'm still undecided on cutting this out or not. I like it, but again, I could just do like a real quick video that covers all of this and maybe is more engaging, takes up less real estate. I don't know. Um, kept all that. I moved the team stuff down here instead of it was actually up here. And I moved the perk stuff up. Little tweaks, little tweaks. Put everything I can to see if we can hit that because that is pure insanity. But it's what we need and it's what we do. So pure insanity it must be. uh, and yeah, that's where we're at. And what we talked about. Besides what Nick Fury is to me and what I'm reading of Nick Fury currently and what I've read of Nick Fury. Um, and then we talked a little bit about Punisher Max for a minute and how that complete collection brought it full circle with the last bit, which is kind of an anthology bit of like little 10-page shorts. Uh, and particularly one short in particular, really cool to see. But it's still overall the book's really mediocre, but that last bit was a gem. And then Welcome to the Bayou was all right. That's about it. But yeah, I'm still here, open for questions. Otherwise, I'll start the the shutdown process, as it were, and bring my pup in. She's outside at the moment, doing her guard dog duty, I guess. Oh, yeah, da, da, da. Ooh, that's nice. Yep. Hope everybody, again, I started off the stream with that, but I do hope everybody had a nice Valentine's. Mine was better than I thought. Bought myself a real nice steak. Ate it well, too. It came out great. Some expensive soda. But I had a gift card from work, so I was like, oh, I'm out. I have that in my pocket. Let's go spend it. I never go to the store because it's expensive, but I have free money there. Let's do that today. I deserve it. That was fun. It made yesterday better. I also did some long overdue cleaning in the house, and that made me feel. It was a decent day. Very long day, but pretty good. Pretty good. I think there's any other developments. Wonderful Mrs. H, as she is working on an animation currently. Um, I did share that stream and enjoyed it thoroughly. Um, two secret things in the works. One is actually a full blown project, um, which I can't wait to show off. Um, Basically, a whole new like major member of IronVerse Comics, which is really cool. I really appreciate that. Um, we have concept art for it, which was really cool too. That's been coming in. And then I have a secret thing that's going to be included in issue number 4 if we fund. I'm doing a new pinup cover for a short story I wrote a long time ago. That's very much on theme with issue number 4. I really love the short story. um, Very much my creative writing because I break time through it, which is a no-no, but I think it adds to the thematics. So I love it, but it's a no-no. Like it's not supposed to do that, but I think I did it right. It's one of those few times where I think you can break the rules because you know them. And it's going to be a very cool piece from an artist I really liked. People might have an idea because I had put a post up looking for a new artist to work with on that piece and found the right one. So that's exciting. I got thumbnails in from that. That should be in by mid-March is what we agreed on, and hopefully sooner. But yeah, I'll show that off. It's going to be partway through the campaign. I want it to help be a little extra fire. But yeah, that there covers it. That there covers it. I reckon. Uh, yeah, no stuff otherwise. So what are we at? We're just over an hour, so it's probably closer to an hour and a half. The timer on Restream is like 10 to 20 minutes behind. Kind of goofy they have the timer. What? I put the one on OBS, isn't it? Look. Yeah, the one on OBS is more accurate. Okay, cool. Yeah, we can keep this one a little short because I don't have much else to say, sadly. I think that covers everything I need. What? 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 Yeah? What? Yeah? Well, well, you say. What do you need? You want to sit on my lap? Know what you need? Yeah? Well, yeah, you're welcome. She's always asking to make sure she can lay down first, and she needs the reassurance it's okay. She's a good cat. You're a good cat. Aren't you, Midnight? Oh, getting your claws stuck though. Oh, hi, sweetie. Hi. Doing okay? Yeah. Oh, it's my kitty cat. She is 18 this year. She an old lady. An old lady, huh, miss? Rub. All right. Uh, I think that does cover it. Sorry about the kitty cat segue, but that's what she wanted. And I'll be back later this afternoon. I cleared the space. Sometimes I have things to do Tuesday, but it can move to Wednesday or Thursday sometimes. And that's what I did today because I wanted a breather after this work week. Sunday, was it Sunday? Yeah, Sunday was just terrible at work. Worked there 5 years in November and never went in work and had that happen, even though I know it was always a possibility. Heartbreaking. I spent the whole day with fucking from memories. Not fun. Not fun. Sunday was not fun. But yesterday was better. It was better. Today's fine. Huh, midnight. Yeah. You don't even know. You don't even know. You don't. But yeah, folks. Sorry to end on that downer. I did need to share that. Um, but I will catch you folks later on that rusty IronVerse Comics trail. Uh, Take care and have a good one, please. Please do. Do it for yourself and then maybe for me if you like. Take care.